I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, strap, seal my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me. Elevating, got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC 297. We got Dricus du Plessis going against Sean Strickland. A very good card, first pay-per-view card of the year. Really looking forward to it from a fan perspective, from a betting perspective especially. I have a ton of bets on this card, a ton of big plus money sprinkles I'm liking. We had some weigh-in drama today, a couple fights we'll talk about. We'll talk about the Jazz Divicious catch a cheating fight. We'll talk about the City Tavares fight, and then we'll talk about the Malcolm Gordon Jimmy Flick fight. There was some weight miss situations in all three of those fights. But yeah, really loving this card from a betting perspective. A ton of big plus money spots sticking out. It's not like last week where we have minus 1,600 fight doesn't go to decisions, minus 1,000 favorites. We have a lot of more closely lined fights, and that's going to open up a lot of value. I think we get a lot of violence on this card as well, and I cannot wait to break it down and watch these fights especially. Before we get into it, if you guys can please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Be on the lookout for my betting breakdown video, breaking down all my bets tomorrow morning on fight day, and then also going to be going live tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern time for best bet. We got Luke sparring from reality. We got 138 MMA, and then we got Uncle Weezy and myself. So a very stacked panel tomorrow for the first pay-per-view best bet of the year. Definitely looking forward to it there. If you guys want to check out Prize Picks, use promo code DFSBTN. Get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. And I did post a Prize Picks video earlier in the week as well. So what is up, everybody? Hopefully you guys are looking forward to this card as much as I am. Cannot wait for some of these fights. We got Flapjack, first one in the building. Let's go, boys. Let's smash this card. Let's do it. We got Clark in the building. We got Vitek saying, what's up, Brady? Which trash can is winning tomorrow? I cannot wait to break down that fight. We got Jesper in the building. What is up? What was that face-off? I'm not sure. I mean, that was that was a Sean Strickland face-off. That was weird. Sean Strickland seemed a little bit off this week. I don't know if it's just me, but seems a little bit off this week. We got Bailey in the building. What is up? Mark in the building. Let's go, Brady. Time for a green week. Yes, sir. And yeah, strange. Very strange. I just got done watching that as well. Watched all the ceremonial weigh-ins, and it was, I don't know what Strickland was doing. I don't know what he was doing. We got Forrest in the building. What is up, Forrest? Brady and DHS by the Numbers. Let's go. Some check marks, some money. Hopefully we'll be checking markings and getting some money tomorrow. We got Steven saying, and still Blomdong in the building. Sean in the building. What is up? David saying, let's go. We got Jason saying, let's get this money. Let's do it. Sean's about to destroy Dricus. Somebody's getting destroyed in that main event. Boys, Jimmy Flick Nation, the big underdog. We'll see if he can pull it off. We got Nasty saying DDP beats Sean. We'll talk about that main event for sure. What's up, Brady? Last time your caution on Tom Nolan saved me. Yeah, that was, it was a likely outcome. Tom Nolan getting knocked out, his chin was there for the taking, and Moda took it. So, yeah, I think there's a couple spots like that this week even. We got Jack in the building saying, what's up, Brady? I could see this being a card where every underdog comes through worth at $1 at least. I'm kind of with you in a sense that I feel like every single underdog's live outside of I'd be very surprised if Priscilla catch a cheating one. But other than that, I think that, a lot of these underdogs are live this week, which, like I said, it's going to open up a lot of value. I think there's a lot of props that stick out. I have a ton of plus money props, a lot of round sprinkles, and that's where I did my best work last year. So looking forward to breaking it down. We got Ben in the chat becoming a member for 3 months saying, let's go, Brady. I have a good feeling about this card. Let's make some money. I have a good feeling as well. Liking a lot of spots. Appreciate you, Ben. We got Forrest in the building. What is your most confident pick on this card? Also, what are DDP's chances of winning tomorrow? In my opinion, I think DDP's chances are about 50%, 50-50. I feel like this line should be a pick 'em. It's currently lined to pick 'em, -110 each way. I kind of see it being Dricus within those first, 2-3 rounds. And if not, I kind of feel like the pressures of Sean Strickland's going to get to Dricus. But I feel like both guys are live to win the fight one way or another. I don't have a strong lean on it. Pick 'em makes sense to me. If you got any plus money on either side, I think that's the way to go. And then my most confident pick on the card, in terms of a pick, I'd say Jazz Vicious. In terms of a bet, I did do my best bet video of the week, and that was Mike Malott to win in rounds 1 or rounds 2, around -129. All 10 of Mike Malott's wins come in that first 2 rounds, and actually all of his wins come in the first 1.5 rounds. So I do like Mike Malott to finish Neil Magny. We got Ace saying, yo, Brady, a big win tomorrow. Me as well. I could use a very big win. Have a ton of bets on this card. So I think this is the second most amount of bets I have had ever. The first most amount was UFC. What was it? UFC 292, 291, where I had like 26 bets, a lot of them big plus money sprinkles, but I came away with like 14 units that night. Hit Jake Matthews sub 2, Jake Matthews round 2, hit Roman Kopylov round 2. It was that card where I was hitting every single round prop. Was up 14 units. I have a ton of those this week, so I'm hoping it's a big week. Let's see here. We got Jan saying, let's go. Sean and Mara both looked off. Sean looked off to me. Mara, I don't know. She looked like she was like getting a little bit emotional, which, rightfully so at their first title shot. Imagine if we all copy this Legends Bets last year, 7K for everyone. Wouldn't have been 7K, would have been like 6.7K for $100 unit bettors there. It was a good year last year, and hopefully this could be a great card as well. I just made a $5 parlay, pays 6,839. There you go, Bloom Dog. Hopefully you can hit that. Tell me how you feel about Polyana Viana. How do I feel about her? I think she's dangerous. 100% finish rate. I think it's gonna be a good fight. And Priscilla Ketcha beating to Ketcha cheating. Yeah, she's probably the biggest cheater I've ever seen in my life. Canadian sweep is live. I think there's 9 Canadians on this card. I'm picking, I think, 7 of them. Mike Malott, KO2. 1,500 for a quarter unit. Don't hate it. Got 138 going to be on the show tomorrow. Looking forward to it as well. It's going to be, I think, my first show with 138 MMA. So shout out to him. That'll be tomorrow. That's going to be fun. And we got Jeff saying, I bet Jazz 3 weeks ago, but hate that they are fighting a whole weight division up now. Yeah, we'll talk about that nonsense. And then Ion saying, so Jasmine and Malott parlay, I think it hits, but I don't know if you're going to get the best price tag on it because you got Jasmine -400, Malott like -350. So you're probably not getting the best price tag, but I think they both come through. All right, guys, I say we get into it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, all the good stuff. We're going to start with the first fight of the card. And we have the 1-800-GAMBLER, not of the week. This is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight, not even of the year. This is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight potentially of all time. And Malcolm Gordon going against Jimmy Flick, probably the least durable fight of all time. These guys have 14 combined losses. 13 of those come inside the distance. And I was, thinking about this matchup a lot all week. It's a very intriguing matchup, right? And this matchup kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys have ever seen South Park, right? Where they had that debate. They had that debate with the giant douche or the turd sandwich, right? And it's like, oh, do I want to vote for a giant douche or do I want to vote for a turd sandwich? And I'm kind of getting that vibe here. Do you want to, in this case, say Jimmy Flick's probably the giant douche, right? And Jimmy Flick is +185. And then you got the turd sandwich when in this case would be Malcolm Gordon, right? And he's -220. It's like, do I want to pick the giant douche or the turds? It's like, I don't know. But you're getting the giant douche at +185, which I think is, pretty intriguing. I feel like this fight can go either way. If you have a passionate, strong take on this fight, I don't quite get it. How could you be confident in Malcolm Gordon, who this guy, first of all, he missed weight, which is not a good sign to me because he missed weight in his last fight. And in his last fight, he was, coming out for the walkout, right? And I had a big bet on Hadley inside the distance. And one of the commentators were talking about how Malcolm Gordon was like having some serious problems with either his liver or kidneys. And it was just all bad, missed weight and then missed weight again. is he having those same problems? Like, what's going on with Malcolm Gordon? Got folded, with a body shot against Hadley. I mean, this guy he's just not durable at all. 7 losses, all 7 of them coming inside the distance. So how can you be confident in Malcolm Gordon? But on the flip side, I mean, how can you be confident in Jimmy Flick? You just can't. You can't be confident in Jimmy Flick. Malcolm Gordon, this has been incredible line movement. Malcolm Gordon went from like about a pick'em to like minus 220 over the week. And, at minus 110, minus 120, minus 130, Malcolm Gordon, I get it. A lot of people are betting this guy, and they're betting because, Jimmy Flick, he looks like he doesn't want to be there. He looks uninterested. He looks unmotivated. He's been knocked out 6 times. If you want to bet Malcolm Gordon at minus 130, sure. Minus 220. I mean, you just can't get there. So if you are betting on this fight, shame on you. But I do have a bet on this fight, but it's a very small bet. I feel horrible about it, but it's a plus 300 bet, and that's going to be Jimmy Flick inside the distance at plus 300. I feel like I would bet anybody to win inside the distance against Malcolm Gordon at plus 300. I feel like I'd bet a pillow to win inside the distance at plus 300 against Malcolm Gordon. So I feel like that line should be like plus 100, because I see this fight 50-50. Either Malcolm Gordon, folds over like a lawn chair and gets finished for the 8th time, or Jimmy Flick folds over like a long chair and gets finished for the 7th time. So if you're betting on this fight, God help you. I'm betting on it, so I'm going to need some help as well. But just a half unit, even that's too much, guys. I mean, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't even like the total. Like, the total set at 1.5. The under's minus 125. Like, Malcolm Gordon is expected to go out there and knock out Jimmy Flick, but Malcolm Gordon hasn't knocked anybody out in 7 years. So I don't know. This fight is giving me the crabs. And I'm even ashamed to have even a half unit on it. So give me Jimmy Flick just because he's the dog. He's the giant douche. And he's a big dog. Give me him inside the distance, plus 300. We'll see what happens. From a DraftKings perspective, I'm going very heavy on this fight. I think somebody's getting served here. 13 losses coming inside the distance. I think the winner scores very well. With that said, I think Malcolm Gordon is going to be like one of the top highest owned fighters on the slate, which is crazy, but it is what it is. I think somebody's going down here, though. I think the under 2.5 is probably a good parlay piece. I think that's fine. Fight as it goes, probably a good parlay piece. I think that's fine as well. And I have that parlayed in some DGen parlays myself. All right. Yeah, glass chins, both of them, man. Flick gets another sub here. Gordon is injured and sucks. Something might be wrong. I mean, like I said, in his last fight, he had something wrong with like his kidneys or his liver. Missed weight again. And for Jimmy Flick being the unmotivated one here, he did show up. He came in early and made weight, whereas Malcolm Gordon didn't. So we'll see. Yeah, I was just thinking about, I thought it was a perfect reference, that South Park episode with the giant douche or the turd sandwich. No bet. You're a smart man, David. You're a smart man, David. Yeah, this could be the Phil Haas bet of the week. And I actually understood the Phil Haas one. I picked him to get knocked out in the first round, but at least that one made some sense to me. He was an underdog. He was the better fighter, but it's hard to trust these guys with no durability. Flick has the better teeth. There you go. Yeah, I mean, just a half unit, which like I said, that's too much. Half a unit is way too much. I got a small stab on Flick sub plus 410. Yeah, Flick's a good finisher. Flick has won 88% of his wins by sub, and Malcolm Gordon has been submitted twice. So yeah, Flick by sub plus 410. It's not the worst bet in the world. Turd sandwich at minus 210. It's I can't quite get there. Flick's first KO. I think they're all over it, man. I mean, I was looking for something stupid for Flick's first KO, like plus 3,000. It's only like plus 1,200. So yeah, I did say it on stat there because like I think it would be hilarious if this was like a Jesus Aguilar situation against Shannon Ross, where Jesus Aguilar with a 60 like 1-inch reach, no knockouts ever, just flatlined Shannon Ross. I mean, that was hilarious. If Jimmy Flick knocks out Malcolm Gordon, I'm going to be just probably dying on the floor laughing. But I think if Flick does win, it's probably sub. Yeah, dog or pass, probably more so on the pass, because at the same time, you can't trust Jimmy Flick at all. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We have more shenanigans. We had Malcolm Gordon shenanigans this week coming in here, missing weight for the second time in a row. And we have probably even bigger shenanigans here with Priscilla Cachoeira cheating, who has to be the biggest cheater in UFC history. cheat after cheat. I mean, if you guys have watched the last couple Priscilla Cachoeira fights, you should have known that something was going to happen today at weigh-ins. And what happened was, this fight was supposed to take place at 125 pounds, flyweight fight. Apparently, Jasmine Jasdavicius yesterday, I think she said around 4 o'clock Eastern, got a call saying that Priscilla's having some trouble making weight, and they're going to do like a 130-pound catch weight, right? And Jasmine agrees to it. And then she gets another call saying, oh, Priscilla Cachoeira, cheating, is having more problems making the catch weight of 130. It's not happening. And Jasmine's like, okay, we'll do 135. We'll do 140 for all I care. So this fight was supposed to be a flyweight fight. Now it is a bantamweight fight. And that's because Priscilla Cachoeira was on her way to missing weight for like probably the third, fourth time. I mean, she's had tons of fights canceled for not being able to make weight. So yeah, whenever I saw this fight was at flyweight, I did have my doubts. And, if this fight's going to take place, but it's going to take place up a weight class here. So I'm not sure why that is. Is Priscilla cheating? Just does she not want to cut weight? Is she coming in here injured? Is she coming in here compromised? I'm not sure, but she was not even close to making 125, and this fight would have been in danger in terms of getting called off if it wasn't for Jasmine, accepting this fight at 135 pounds, 10 pounds above what she accepted this fight a couple months ago. It's crazy to me. So I wasn't going to bet this fight. I wasn't going to bet it. I kind of lean at Jasmine Jasdavicius. I think Jasmine Jasdavicius by decision is the most likely outcome. And then I went on Bet365 and I saw some props that stuck out. And it was Jasmine Jasdavicius round 2 KO was plus 2,000. And then Jasmine Jasdavicius round 3 KO plus 3,000. And those numbers are kind of silly considering we almost saw Jasmine get like a crucifix TKO in the Gabriela Fernandez fight. The ref was super close in terms of stopping that fight. And Priscilla Cachoeira, she's going to get taken down here. She's going to have Jasmine Jasdavicius on top of her. I could see like a mercy TKO just type stoppage here, especially if Priscilla Cachoeira is coming in here, a little bit compromised, maybe injured, right? So I think the late props for Jasmine are especially at those price tags. So I have a quarter unit on those. I think decisions most likely, but we've seen Cachoeira finished on the map, a couple times before. So from a DraftKings perspective, it's kind of hard to get the Jasmine 9,500. I think she wins. I'm not sure she has like the biggest ceiling. She's not, like I said, the best finisher. I don't think she's going to need a million takedowns here. I think if she gets one takedown, that's probably the round. And then as far as Cachoeira, I don't really like her chances in this one. And it seems like Jasmine's coming in here a little bit pissed off. So I think she is going to try a little bit harder for that finish. And I could potentially see it. So I'm sprinkling those late props for Jasmine. I wasn't going to bet the fight, but those prices were kind of silly considering I think it is going to be on the table. We'll take a look at Jasmine's finishes. Looks like she has 2 knockout wins and 1 submission win in her career. So not a great finisher, but I think the crucifix position TKO could be live. And Jasmine by DQ. Yeah, I mean, she could win by DQ. She could literally win by DQ in this fight. It's very much on the table because Priscilla cheating. She cheats. She cheats a lot. She grabs the cage. And by the way, the point deduction is going to be a must bet. It's 20-1. And spoiler alert, I may or may not be giving that on the best bet show tomorrow. But yeah, point deduction in a Priscilla Cachoeira fight should be like plus 250 because she cheats so much. Wait, how did Jimmy Flicks? I mean, I don't think Jimmy Flicks is as bad as people think. Is he bad? Yeah, but he's not like completely terrible. He's a good submission artist. He got that flying triangle against Cody Durden, which is a great win. JJ in a decision in a parlay, I would look at like the round 3 decision, the round 3 / decision, just in case. It's not much of a difference, and you do get that round 3. And point deduction plus 2,000. It's so much on the table. What's more likely, cheating, getting DQ'd by eye gouges, or ripping Jasmine sports bra off, or biting? Eye gouges, sports bra off, or biting? I'd say biting, but I'm kind of I think it'd be biting. Which I'm shocked she hasn't bit anybody yet. She has not bit anybody yet, which is not fitting because she's the zombie girl, right? You think she'd have a couple bites in her career, but she has 0 bites. But she does have a couple sports brawl rip-off attempts. She does have multiple eye gouges, and she does have multiple cage grabs, whether it's with her hands or her feet. So No biting yet, but I think she's due for some biting. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 103. Jasmine decision, Jasmine to win. We got Victor DeJesus in the chat. What is up? Got Travis in the building, just got in the workday, just got shorter. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Travis. What is up? Jazz money line. Yeah, it's minus 400, but I think she wins. Plus 800. Is that on MGM? I think it was plus 2,000 on DK, unless it moved. Which, it would not shock me. I'm sure everybody's betting it. And yeah, you can't. It's tough. It's going to be tough to bite with a mountain. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. So we'll see if she can, bite somebody for the first time. All right. Moving on to the next fight, we got Johan Lioness going against Sam Patterson. And I feel like this is a pretty easy fight to break down. I feel like, either Johan Lioness takes Patterson's head off in the very first 5 minutes, or I feel like if Lioness does not take his head off, I think Lioness has some of the worst cardio you'll see. Sam Patterson is going to have the better cardio, the better volume, the better finishing ability down the stretch in round 2 and rounds 3. But the problem with Sam Patterson is he's extremely hittable. He has that tall man's defense, like the definition of tall man's defense, chin way up in the air. And Lioness does really one thing well, and that's he hits very hard. The problem with Lioness lately, though, is he hasn't really let his hands go at all. I would like to see Lioness come out here aggressive. I would like to see him try to finish Patterson in the first round. And if he does go out there and let his hands go, I think a first round Lioness finish is very much on the table. But I think it's got to be in the first 5 minutes. If not, I think he's going to slow down, because this is a guy in Lioness who's looking tired like 2.5 minutes in. So the way I'm playing this fight is I have 0.75 units on Lioness first round knockout at plus 280. Which I think is, pretty solid, because Lioness inside the distance is minus 105. I don't really see him getting a finish outside the first round. So 0.75 units of Lioness KO 1, a half unit on Sam Patterson round 2, and then a quarter unit on Sam Patterson round 3. I see this being Lioness round 1 knockout, or Patterson breaks him and finishes him down the stretch. It's kind of my way of playing violence, and this fight is heavily favored to end inside the distance. It's minus 650 for the fight doesn't go. I guess I lean towards Lioness to get that early knockout, but if it doesn't happen early, I think he gets broken and finished later on in the fight. From a DraftKings perspective, I like it a lot. I mean, Lioness, I think his path to victory is a first-round KO. And then as far as Sam Patterson goes, I think his path to victory is going to be surviving those first 5 minutes, putting some pressure on, putting some pace on, and, breaking Lioness like we saw Gabe Green do. We saw Gabe Green go out there, push a pace that Lioness cannot keep up with, and was finishing that late second round. I think Patterson can implement that same game plan, but his head needs to stay attached to his body for the first 5 minutes. And it's going to be easier said than done, because Patterson is extremely hittable. His chin is there for the taking. We'll see if Lioness takes it or not. That's disappointing. So it moved on DK. So it went from plus 2,000 to plus 800 on DK. Wow. You don't see that that often. You really don't. But I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Johan KO1, yeah, I think that's a very live outcome. I think Johan KO1's a very, very live outcome this week. Johan looks good for a few minutes, then he looks like he's fighting underwater. Yeah, looks good for a couple minutes, and then it gets ugly, very quickly. So, I mean, it's a winnable fight. I mean, Patterson's been knocked out twice, both in the first round. Chin is served on a platter. I mean, yeah, this is a fight where Lioness should go out there and knock him out, but he has about 5 minutes to do it, in my opinion. Good way to play it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's solid. I guess maybe Patterson can knock out Lioness early or submit him early. I think it's late, though. I think it's Patterson late, Lioness early. Lioness too gassy. Yeah, very gassy and very low volume, especially since getting the UFC. At least outside the UFC, he'd actually fight, right? He'd actually go in there and try to knock guys out, and he did a lot of that. I mean, this guy has a ton of power. That's his best attribute, is that power. But what good is that power if you don't throw anything? It's not. Johan round 1, round 2, Patterson second and third. I like it. Sam Patterson was tripping after his last fight. That was brutal. Probably one of the most brutal knockout losses of last year was that Ashmo's Sam Patterson knockout. I mean, that was and that could happen here. We'll see. Patterson will probably wrestle that ref again. Can't trust either of these guys. You can't. You cannot trust either of these guys whatsoever. All right. We'll move on to the next fight, though. We have Jillian Robertson going against Polyana Viana. And we have some crazy line movement on this fight. So we have Jillian Robertson who was sitting around like minus 185 for a while, for a couple weeks. And in the last week or so, she's now down to minus 305. Polyana Viana sitting at plus 255. So, I saw the line maybe Saturday, Sunday, and I thought it was a little wide. It was like minus 200 something. I was like, minus 200 for Jillian Robertson. And then I looked into the matchup, and I think it's a really good matchup for her because she's going to be able to dictate where this fight takes place. I mean, Polyana Viana has in my opinion, a huge hole in her game, and that is, I think there's a couple holes actually. So the first one is her takedown defense. She does not have takedown defense. On paper, it's 43%. And I was actually surprised to see it was that high because she literally does not even attempt to stuff takedowns, right? She's very content to, get fights down to the mat, whether she's on top or bottom, and she's happy to play off her back. She'll even pull guard a lot. She'll pull guard. She'll literally let you take her down in a lot of her fights. And in some fights, she has success, right? She submitted Emily Whitmire, submitted somebody else as well. So yeah, she can go out there and submit these lower level fighters from bottom, but I just struggle to see her doing that against Jillian Robertson. Like if Robertson takes you down, there's going to be some serious problems. So I think it's a great spot for Robertson. I think it's a great spot for Robertson to potentially finish Viana as well. The fight doesn't go to decisions, minus 180. They're kind of all over it there. But yeah, Viana's been submitted twice in her career. She just got submitted in her last fight in the second round. And I kind of see Robertson taking her down, doing whatever she wants here. She was talking in an interview about how she wants to go out there and get a TKO. I kind of lean more towards sub, but yeah, I mean, I think if she does get enough top position, a TKO could definitely present itself. I kind of lean towards it being later in the fight as well. So what I did was I have a half unit shot on Robertson round 2, plus 500, then a half unit shot on Robertson round 3, plus 1,000. Looking for Robertson to go out there and get a win in that second or third round, kind of break Viana down and get her out of there late. Robertson inside the distance is fine. I don't know if I touch the sub though, to be honest, because I think the TKO could be live and she was talking about it all week this week. So I'd just beware there, but I like Robertson inside the distance, more specifically in the second or third round. From a DraftKings perspective, I think both sides are in play, actually. So Robertson, she has takedown upside, control time upside, good finish upside. But Viana, she has a 100% finish rate. If Viana wins this fight, first and foremost, she's going to be virtually unowned. And second of all, if she wins, it's probably like a first-round knockout or submission. Robertson has been submitted before, and Robertson has been knocked out before. So I don't want to completely rule out Viana from a DraftKings perspective. You never want to rule out anybody with a 100% finish rate. So yeah, Viana is definitely a play on DraftKings, but I'm going to have more Robertson, and I think she goes out there and puts up a big score at that price tag. Let's see here. Polyana via making me faint minus 450. Crazy odds, but I can't help it. Hey, if you see value at minus 450, then you see value. Viana should be plus 180 at worst. Yeah, I do think the line's getting a little bit out of hand. I mean, I think it's a good matchup for Robertson, but we've seen Robertson drop the ball before. How much of a better striker is Polyana? In my opinion, a decent amount, just because I think Robertson's striking is it hasn't improved, and I don't think it ever will. She is still only 28 years old, so maybe it will get better, but I think Polyana, by default, I think anybody's a better striker than Jillian Robertson, but that's not where this fight's taking place. Robertson sub 2-3 plus 340. I like it. I think Viana gets finished in the second round again. I'm picking round 2 as well. Polyana is at shoot the box now. Is she? That's interesting. Yeah, I think that's a great fit for her. I mean, I think it's a great fit for her. Jillian can get a sneaky KO. Yeah, I think the KO is very sneaky this week, and that's all she's been talking about this week, so we'll see. Robertson over 1.5, maybe Robertson second, third round sub. Yeah, I am leaning over 1.5 as well, but ever so slight. I'm kind of leaning late second finish for Robertson there. Viana is a far better striker. Robertson is slow. Yeah, if this fight was on the feet the entire time, I'd be going Viana all day. But Viana's takedown defense, I think, is going to give her some trouble here. Polyana made Colby tap out that she did. Just gonna enjoy this fight. Nothing wrong with that. Just enjoy the fight. Same with the bets. Rooting for Jillian. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. There's not a ton sticking out, but I think the Robertson finish is definitely live here. All right, guys, we're going to keep moving on here, about 30 minutes in, doing pretty good on time. We have Surrey City going against Ramon Tavares, and more weigh-in day shenanigans here. We had Ramon Tavares come in I think he was the last to weigh in, but regardless, this guy comes in looking terrible. I mean, awful. Just rough. Ramon Tavares, just terrible, right? He comes in and he weighs like 139.5. Not good. Just not good. So he looked rough on the scale. I thought he looked a lot worse than even Malcolm Gordon, who missed weight, and he missed weight by a ton. Luckily, the fight stays on. And one bet that I've had circled all week, and I like it even more now, is the fight to end by knockout minus 105 on Bet Rivers. I think that's a really generous number considering the fight doesn't go to decisions like minus 260 or something. Let me see. The fight doesn't go as minus 260, 275, minus 330 on DraftKings right now. So the fight to end by knockout at about a pick 'em. I like that because, yes, Ramon Tavares does have a couple submissions on his record, but against who? Surrey City does have one submission on his record, but against two, I don't really see much grappling here. I think these guys want to do one thing and one thing only, and that's going to be standing and banging there. So I like this spot all week before the weigh-ins. Fight ends by knockout, minus 105. I like it even more after the Tavares weigh-ins. And what I also like is I think these city late props are very much in play. So for one, I don't like Tavares' cardio in general. Two, he looked really bad at the weigh-ins. And three, I think a lot of people might be expecting a first-round finish here. And maybe it does end in the first, but that's not really City's game. City has a lot of finishes in the second, third round, and even some finishes like in a fourth round. He has multiple 5-round fights. So City's kind of a guy that kind of breaks you down. And that's why I picked him in his first fight with Tavares on the Contender Series. Just thinking, yeah, he's probably going to break this guy down. He's going to break him. He's going to get him out of there late. I think I picked like City round 3 in their first fight. I think that can come into play here. So yeah, so I'm on the fight ends by knockout first or foremost. I think if Tavares does win, it's by knockout. I don't see Tavares winning a decision, and it's probably first round knockout at this point. And then I think if City wins, it is like a late finish. Could be early as well, but a late finish. Tavares has been knocked out in both of his losses, and Tavares in his own right has a ton of power. So fight ends by knockout, favorite play. And then I have a quarter unit sprinkle on City round 2 plus 550, and then City round 3 plus 1100. I think he can kind of break this guy down and get him out of there late. Did not like what I saw from Tavares on the scale whatsoever. Just a big, giant red flag, in my opinion. But luckily, the fight's on. City accepted it, and we're good to go. But that's a big weight miss for Tavares there. How's this fight still on? I don't know. I was kind of worried to be off as well. That's a massive weight miss. Massive weight miss. This fight's still on. Surprising, to be honest. Yep, surprising as well. Fight to end by KO is a good look. Yep. Both guys have a ton of power. Both guys want to stand and bang. I like it. About to pick him. I like it. Tavares looked like he didn't want to be there. Hey, looked rough. I did not like it. I didn't like it. Yes, sir. I got the KO finish minus 105 on Bet Rivers. I like it. I think it's a great way to play violence. Could there be a sub? Maybe, but I just think it's a lot more likely that it's going to be a knockout. Doesn't go the distance I like. Under 1.5 could be a car crash. It is going to be a car crash. It is absolutely going to be a car crash. And yeah, the under 2.5 fight doesn't go. Could be parlay pieces as well, especially after the weigh-ins, right? Before the weigh-ins, I was kind of iffy about going heavy on violence. I liked it, but I didn't love it. Now I do like it even more. So here, that's how I'm attacking that fight from a betting perspective. DraftKings perspective, I like Tavares here at 7,300 just because there's not a ton down low. Like this week is rough. Like if you're looking for any type of value, like do you want to play Neil Magny at 6,900? I don't really want to do that. Do you want to play Cachoeira? I don't. Do you want to play Sean Woodson? A lot of people do. I don't personally. Do you want to play? I don't know who else is down. I don't know. Polyana Viana, I guess I do have some interest in her, but there's not a ton down low. I think Tavares, I'm going to have some of him still. I think I'm going to lower my exposure on Tavares a little bit, but I'm still going to have. I mean, at the end of the day, this guy does hit extremely hard, but the weigh-ins are going to take me off Tavares a little bit. I think I'm going to take some ownership off of Tavares, add a little bit on City, and then maybe up some exposure on Viana from a DraftKings perspective. So that's kind of how I'm attacking that one there. Most UFC fights end in decision or knockout. Some subs come third. Yeah, yep, that's true. We don't see as much submissions as we do knockouts or decisions, especially. That's for sure. All right, moving on to the next fight. We have I'm looking forward to this fight. This fight is going to be an absolute banger. Charles Jourdain going against Sean Woodson. Interesting line movement here because I see a lot of people on the Sean Woodson side. Charles Jourdain was sitting around minus 185 for a while, went to like minus 175. He's currently sitting at minus 215, which I think is very interesting there. So, I was looking through the record of Charles Jourdain, and you'll notice a pattern with Charles Jourdain. Every time this guy loses, and we have a good sample size of losses for Charles Jourdain in the UFC. Every time he loses, he's been taken down at least twice in those losses. Nathaniel Wood took him down 5 times. Shane Burgos took him down twice. That was a close fight. Julian Erosa took him down twice. We saw Andre Fili take him down 5 times. We saw Desmond Green take him down 4 times. Every single loss in the UFC, all 5, he's getting taken down more than once. And what's interesting about this fight is he's going against a boxer in Sean Woodson who can. I mean, if he wants to take him down, sure he can. But I think that'll be a massive mistake on Sean Woodson's part, and here's why. Charles Jourdain's a very, very dangerous grappler. He went out there and submitted Ricardo Ramos with that guillotine in the first round in his last fight. He went out there and submitted Lando Venata with that guillotine in the first round. If Sean Woodson wants to go out there and grapple, be my guest. He's probably getting subbed, and it's only going to expend some unneeded energy there in there as well. For Sean Woodson to win this fight, I think it's going to have to be a clean fight at distance where he uses that height, uses that range, that length, that 9-inch reach advantage. Just going to be a clean fight, but I don't think Charles Jourdain's going to go in there and have a clean fight with this guy. I think Charles Jourdain's going to go in there with really no worries about getting taken down and really no worries about a ton of power coming back his way. Sean Woodson, a great volume guy, great reach, love the boxing, but he just doesn't have a ton of power. I mean, the power difference in this fight is tremendously in favor of Charles Jourdain. So I feel like Charles Jourdain's going to make this a war. I feel like he's going to pressure. He's going to walk Woodson down, and I feel like that's going to wear on Woodson a little bit. So, yeah, I like Charles Jourdain here. Do I like the line? I mean, minus 215. I mean, if this fight does go the distance, I think it's going to be very close, but I think Charles Jourdain's live here to break Woodson. Woodson's been finishing his only loss. He was broken against Julian Erosa. Julian Erosa did just that. He walked right through everything that Sean Woodson was throwing. Nothing was affecting him. And that's a very chinny Julian Erosa, right? Walked him down, tired him out, and then finished him in the 3rd round. I kind of see that happening here. I think Charles Jourdain's live to break this guy. And it wasn't too long ago. It was actually 2 fights ago where Luis Saldana, he didn't finish Woodson, but I mean, he should have finished Woodson. I mean, that should be a 1st-round knockout loss to Luis Saldana. That was that fight where Saldana dropped him like 2 or 3 times and just literally let Woodson up. He actually got up and looked like he was starting to celebrate. So, I mean, that probably should have been another knockout loss to Luis Saldana. So, yeah, I know, Woodson's a very popular dog. I mean, I just think it's a matchup where as long as Jourdain comes in here with the right game plan, I think he can break this guy. So I'm on Charles Jourdain inside the distance, 165 plus 165 for 0.75 units, and then a quarter unit sprinkle on the round 2, round 3. I think it's late. And somebody said it in the chat, round 3, Charles Jourdain is a mythical creature, and that is extremely true. The only finished loss for Woodson is in the 3rd round. Charles Jourdain just turns it on. He starts to turn it on the more the fight goes. So, yeah, I like Charles Jourdain to kind of break Woodson down the stretch there. Leaning, I don't know, it could be knockout, could be submission. I don't want to mess around with picking the method, but I think it does come late. All right. Ramon Tardvaris. There you go. Not many fights stick out to me as being exciting outside the main. What fight are you looking forward to the most outside of the main? Malcolm Gordon versus Jimmy Flick, I think, is going to be hilarious. I think whichever side you're on, like even if you lose money, I think you're going to just be laughing because it's just a hilarious fight. And there's probably going to be a hilarious outcome. Like it could look like one of those cartoons where, somebody gets hit in the head and they do like a funny dance. Like, I don't know, anything can happen in that Gordon Flick fight. So that fight's going to be fun. I think the fight we just talked about, Jourdain Woodson's going to be fun. Chris Curtis, Marc-Andre Barriault's a banger. I think there's a lot of fun fight, like a lot of underrated fights. Charles, round 3-7, leaning that way. We got Clark having some interest in Pauliana Viana. Under 2.5. I don't see like any finishing upside on the Woodson side. I really don't. Charles Jourdain has been finished once. It was by submission against Erosa. Charles Jourdain's next level tough. Whereas Woodson, I kind of question the durability of Woodson. That's round 3, Charles. Definitely a mythical creature. This guy's crazy in the 3rd round. Appreciate you, Jacob, saying deserves your like. Click like. Yes, sir. Let's get those likes up. Line sucks. I agree. The line's kind of gotten away. A couple of these lines have gotten away. This is one of them. But I'm not betting against them. Yeah, I'm definitely not. Ordained by sub. I think it's live. I think it's very live. This is the pass for me on betting. Should be a great fight. I can't wait for this fight. We got Sean V in the chat. What is up, Sean? Hopefully you're doing well. Looking forward to some fights. We got Strickland in the building. What is up, Strickland? Good luck tomorrow. How confident are you in Dricus? Deshaun looks like he's in his element. It's a 50-50 fight in my mind. And the line does indicate that it's minus 110 each way. I'm confident in a prop. There's some bets I like, but it'd be a dog or pass situation, which Dricus was the dog. It looks like all that plus money is dried up. But yeah, not a ton of confidence. Allen versus Evlov. Yeah, I think that's probably like the highest level fight on the card outside of Strickland, Duplessis, the title fight. Obviously, I mean, that's a very high level fight. It's a very good fight. Looking forward to that. Joshua was saying, you got any action on Bracketona? That round 2 sub is pretty juicy. Plus 100 for a guy who's been finished twice by rear naked choke in the 2nd. Yeah, we'll talk about that fight next. I do have some bets on that one. We'll be talking about that Katona fight shortly. Is there any way I can pay extra to not have the co-main event on my pay-per-view? I don't think so. I mean, you can go in the other room maybe and not watch it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not entirely looking forward to it, but we'll see. Plus 1,000 for round 2 sub. We'll talk about it, man. We'll talk about it right now. We got Brad Katona going against Garrett Armfield, and I think it's a great matchup for Brad Katona. This is another line that's kind of been getting beat all week. We have Brad Katona sitting at minus 170 for a while. He's currently minus 212 at the moment. And I think that's because it's a good matchup for him. Brad Katona, I think, is one of the more underrated fighters in the UFC. This is a guy that's won the Ultimate Fighter twice. This is a guy that has really good wins. Beat Bryce Mitchell on the Ultimate Fighter the first time around. Went out there, put on a very fun and exciting fight against Cody Gibson as well. His losses in the UFC are against some good guys. Rob Davalishvili, Hunter Azure, I don't think is great, but he's a really good wrestler. That was a tough matchup stylistically for Brad Katona, at least a lot tougher than this one, because you got Armfield, Armfield's a great striker. I like the striking of Armfield, tons of power, but Armfield has a big hole in his game, and that hole in his game is the takedown defense. That hole in the game in his game is the grappling, and that's something that Brad Katona is probably going to go out there and exploit. So I think as long as Brad Katona fights smart, which I see no reason why he shouldn't, go out there, take this guy down, wear on him. And I don't think Armfield has the best cardio. He's been finished twice by submission. His only his decision loss comes against Ronnie Lawrence. Like every time this guy's losing, it's due to the grappling. So I think Katona is going to exploit that. And I think Katona probably wins this fight by decision. This guy, Katona, has the worst finish rate on the card, worse than like Jazz the Vicious, worse than Neil Magny, worse than Moser Evloev, 31% finish rate. But with that said, I think a Katona late finish could be very sneaky here. Not as sneaky because I was looking at the round props last night and I was expecting something stupid for Katona, these late props, because Katona's not really finishing anybody. But what I like here is, Brad Katona is minus 210 on the money line. Brad Katona to win in round 3 decision, plus 100. I like that. I put a unit on that. And then I also sprinkled the round 3 quarter unit plus 1,400. My worry is it might come in round 2. So maybe I should be sprinkling the round 2 as well. We'll have to see if I add on there. But because, Armfield has been submitted twice in the 2nd round. So maybe I'll add on the round 2. We'll have to see. But I'm kind of leading round 3 for Brad Katona or decision, and hoping to cash both those. If Katona can go out there and get a 3rd round finish, he did submit Bryce Mitchell in the 3rd round. He has a couple, I think his last 3 submissions for Brad Katona do come in that 3rd round. So yeah, I think Brad Katona late finish is very live here. Brad Katona by decision, 3rd round decision makes a lot of sense. From a Draftkings perspective, I think Katona's okay. I think he'll grapple. He'll get some takedowns. He'll get some control. Maybe he gets a late finish. I don't hate him, but there are some spots I like more. And then as far as Armfield, if he wins, I'm guessing it's probably going to be like a knockout. That's what he does. He has a ton of power, but Brad Katona has never been knocked out, and he's fought some very good competition. So we'll see. All right. What do we got in the chat here? Brad for the parlay. I don't hate him as a parlay piece. Law gets it done in the first round. I think he gets it done in the first round. I'm not sure if it's by knockout or KO, though. Got Sean saying, would love your thoughts. Brady Armfield is a dog of the week. Katona couldn't finish a 35-year-old. Yeah, he's not a great finisher. And he ate loads of shots. Armfield can crack, plus age and reach advantage, and the line is getting cooked. Yeah, the line's getting bigger and bigger, wider and wider. But I think there's a reason for it. I mean, if you go and watch this guy Armfield, his takedown defense is not great. His get-up game, his grappling, it's not on par with where Brad Katona's at. And Brad Katona has fought some very good guys. Like if Brad Katona goes out there and beats Armfield, it's probably not even in his top 5 wins in his career between Tough and because he beat Valiev on Tough, he beat Bryce Mitchell on Tough, so he's beat some really good guys, fought some really good guys. So I get why Katona's a favorite here and a decent one at that. Katona does have some really good wins. Yeah, really good wins. Armfield inside the distance. If he does pull it off, I do think it's inside the distance. We got Amar H with the $10 super sticker. Appreciate you, Amar, for the dono, and appreciate you hanging out with me there. We got Joshua saying he has really good control on top position. Brad has a high IQ. He will get takedowns, and I could see him getting the back worth a shot. Yeah, 100%. I'm on the round 3, 1,400. What is it like? These round props are like terrible though. For a Brad Katona finishes nobody, you would think we'd be getting some solid lines on him, but maybe the bookies are kind of all over it because Brad Katona, I didn't think it was that good. Brad Katona to win in round 2 is Brad Katona round 2 is plus 900. It was plus 1050. I don't know. I would lean round 3. Let's take a look. So Brad Katona, I'm pretty sure his last couple wins or inside the distance wins have come in the 3rd round. So let's take a look. So his last finish win was against Borsalov Nikolic. That was in the 3rd round. So 3rd round submission. And that was back in 2021. He did have another 3rd round submission against Austin Ryan. And then he had a 3rd round submission against Bryce Mitchell as well. So he has last 3 finish wins have come in the 3rd round for what it's worth. Betting Katona minus 170, okay. Malcolm Gordon minus 210, not okay. I mean, I agree. If I had to bet one at these chalky price tags, it's Katona all day. If you had to build 2 parlays and 2 fights in each of them, what would you pick? Like money line, I think Jazz the Vicious Malott are probably my 2 most confident picks on the card. So I'd say those 2. And then I like some violence prop. I think you can parlay up the under 2.5 in the Gordon Flick fight. You can parlay up like the under 2.5 in the Lioness Patterson fight. I don't have any parlays this week though, but I think there are some intriguing parlay pieces this week. Arnold Allen is going to smoke Evloev. We shall see. Fighting in his own backyard might add some will to finish it. Potentially, yeah, it could. We'll see. All right, moving on to the main card opener. We got Movsar Evloev going against Arnold Allen. Yeah, nothing really sticking out here. Earlier in the week or late last week, I was fairly confident in Evloev. Was thinking about going out there and placing a pretty big bet on him. He was minus 175 at the time. He's currently like minus 183. The line hasn't moved a ton, minus 200 on some books. And then, the more I thought about the fight, the more I thought, I think it's a good matchup for Evloev. I think Evloev can get takedowns here at will. I think Allen's takedown defense is good, but it's not great. I think, Evloev has, high volume on the feet. But the more I thought about it, the more I kind of backtracked a little bit, thinking we haven't really seen Allen taken down in like 5-6 years. So in theory, he should be improving that takedown defense. And then it's just Evloev does make some mistakes. Evloev does drop some rounds. We have seen Evloev in some very bad spots, but props to him. He's gotten out of every single one of them. A lot of those bad spots do come on the ground. So, yeah, I think there are some reasons to like Allen. I know a lot of people are going to be on this guy. Allen is definitely a fan favorite. I do lean towards the Evloev side, though. I mean, this guy's wrestling is incredible. The minute winning is incredible. I think he'll be able to get takedowns here at will. But yeah, I mean, maybe the fight could be a little bit closer than the line does indicate here. How I played it was So this was a spot that me and Uncle Weezy talked about on Stat Diggers, and that's Evloev by decision, I think, is the best. If you're on the Evloev side, I think Evloev by decision is the best way to play it. The reason being is Evloev just finishes nobody, and I mean nobody. Evloev has 7 fights in the UFC, 0 finishes, all by decision. And if he finished Arnold Allen, I'd be shocked, quite frankly. So me and Weezy were thinking, yeah, Evloev decision, but it's probably going to be something stupid like minus 150 best price. But no, minus 114. I think that's solid. So yeah, 1 unit minus 114, nothing crazy here. I think Evloev wins this fight by decision. That's about all. I was looking at maybe the split decision, but it's only plus 350. He's going to take that 1 unit Sean Evloev decision. I think that's his best win condition. This guy is not a finisher, and he's not finishing Allen, who's never been finished. From a DraftKings perspective, Evloev's fine, 8,700, tons and tons of takedown upside. This guy can put up a massive score. He doesn't have the best control once he gets on top, which only is going to lead to more takedowns. So yeah, don't mind Evloev. And then Arnold Allen, maybe he's able to go up there, pull off the upset. Maybe it's by finish. But, I was kind of looking through Allen's career, and Arnold Allen's been in the UFC for a while now. He's been in the UFC for like 9 years. And he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights. And he only has 1 knockout win in 11 fights. So only 1 knockout win in 9 years. He has power, but is he going to be the first one to knock out Evloev? I'm not so sure. I guess, he knocked out Calvin Kattar, but it's like an injury. He only has 1 real knockout, and that was against Dan Hooker. Other than that, it's a bunch of decisions. So yeah, give me Evloev here, and I think he gets it done by decision. Let's go, Arnold, the almighty autistic Allen. Let's go. Jack liking Allen here. Allen, Jourdain, Katona, DDP. My only parlay so far, plus 1,000. I agree with you on the last 3, Allen. I don't like Allen in this spot. Fan, I love this fight. Betting side, I hate it. Mosvar sub plus 850 is saying he wants to finish. I mean, he can say that all he wants. He's just not finishing anybody is the thing. And I don't know if he finishes Allen, right? He wasn't able to finish some of these lower level guys. Like you got to finish Sung Woo Choi, right? I mean, that's inexcusable. So if he finishes Allen, props to him. I don't see it personally. 2 units Evloev minus 180. I almost got there myself. Allen, first and second round sprinkles. He has power. Doesn't have a ton of knockouts. So like I said, I don't know. Pete Tavares fight ends by KO. Sean, DDP fight ends by KO. Malat money line plus 300. I agree with all 3. Allen is 3-1 as the underdog. Shout out to Star for a birthday. Shout out to Star. Happy birthday, Star. And against Dan Hooker. Same game parlay. Evloev money line over 2.5 plus 100. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So I kind of got screwed over then because I have the decision at minus 114. Anyone having problems with FanDuel today? I can't log in. They're saying my account is being excluded. I have not been on FanDuel today, so hopefully they figure it out. All right, moving on to the next fight. We have Chris Curtis going against Marc-Andre Barriault. So yeah, this an interesting fight here. I don't really see anybody picking Marc-Andre Barriault this week, and this line's kind of stayed the same all week. Minus 180, minus 175, Chris Curtis. And I was looking at I wasn't going to bet this fight. I think it's a fight where I think Chris Curtis is reliant on a knockout here to pay off this price tag, because if this fight does go the distance, I do expect it to be close and competitive. Chris Curtis is a slow starter. He typically drops that first round. He takes a little bit to get going, get his reads right. And Marc-Andre Barriault is a very high volume striker. So I could see a scenario where we are in Canada. This fight does go the full 15. We get some wild scorecards. And at that point, I think Barriault would be live to win a decision. I think it'd have to be a decision, though. I think all the finishes upside is on Chris Curtis. So yeah, I mean, if Chris Curtis does pay off that price tag, I think it is by knockout. And I was looking at some of his knockout props, and there's some wild prices. So Chris Curtis, like second round in general, I had to sprinkle. It was like plus 900 for the second round. I didn't want to mess around with knockout or sub just because there wasn't much difference in price. There was like no difference at all in price, actually. So Chris Curtis round 2 plus 900 I thought was kind of crazy. Like, I feel like if Chris Curtis wins, it's going to be a second or third round finish. And then Chris Curtis round 3 plus 1,400 a quarter unit. I sprinkled them both because they make no sense. Chris Curtis, everybody expects him to win. If he does go out here and win, I heavily lean towards it being a finish, because if he does not finish Barrio, I think we have a super close fight on our hands. So, yeah, I think those Curtis late props are definitely in play. They're always in play. It's going to be tough to do it against Marc-Andre Barrio, but Barrio leaves a lot of openings to be hit. He's a tough dude, but you kind of take a look through Marc-Andre Barrio's career. He's not facing a ton of guys that really hit as hard as Chris Curtis, like Julian Marquez, not that great. Eric Anders, decent win. Dolce Langumbola, Abu Azatar, Oscar Bahota, Jung Young Park has no power. Christoph Jocko has like negative power. Andrew Sanchez has no power. He has fought Chidi. Chidi knocked him out. Chidi has power. So, yeah, hasn't really fought a ton of guys with power. So I kind of feel like Chris Curtis, if he does win this fight like everybody expects him to, it'll be a late finish there. I don't hate like the Barrio decision only at like plus 150. I don't hate it. But other than that, I don't have a ton of interest in this fight. I wasn't going to bet this fight till I saw those Curtis late props, because they don't make a ton of sense to me. From a betting perspective, not a big fan of this fight. Like, I feel like if Curtis wins, it's probably a second or third round finish or a decision. Don't think he has much first round finish upside. Barrio, I don't think he has any takedown upside. I don't think he has any finish upside as well. So, not in love with this fight from a DraftKings perspective. Marc-Andre Barrio's decision line is better than his money line. Yeah, I think if you're going to play Marc-Andre Barrio, it's got to be by decision, which Marc-Andre Barrio by decision, I did see was like plus 400, which I'd even be curious to know what Marc-Andre Barrio by split decision is, because we are in Canada and we could get some wacky scorecards here. So yeah, I don't see Barrio finishing Curtis. I don't see that happening. If there's a finish, I think it's Curtis. They're just saying I got a big bet on Curtis minus 135. Yeah, you beat some line movement there. That's you probably got that last week, that because yeah, minus 135. Maybe earlier than that. So yeah, shout out to you. You were on that one. JP saying last time I bet on a guy with a big bear tat was Spivak, and it did not end well. Yeah, that was probably my worst bet of all time. I felt terrible after that one. Best live dogs. Oh, I think we got a lot of them. I think Jimmy Flick's live just because I think a pillow could be live against Malcolm Gordon. Sam Patterson's live just because he does things. Viana's live early on with the first round finish. He's dangerous. I think Ramon Tavares is live. He's dangerous. Arnold Allen, I think, is live. Marc-Andre Barrio is live for like a split decision in Canada. Pennington's live if this fight does go the distance. And then obviously Dricus is live. I think we have a ton of live dogs. My favorite, though, it was Dricus, was probably my favorite. Dricus, Flick. I think Dricus and Flick would be my two kind of favorite, but I don't think Dricus is a underdog anymore. I think it's about to pick him now. But I like those. Trap fight, it does feel trap. It feels weird. Like some of these props don't make sense. Do we like Mara for a parlay? I would not, but I mean, if you're gonna bet Mara, like I think if she wins, it's by finish. She's at like an 80% finish rate. I would just bet her inside the distance at decent plus money rather than parlaying her up at minus 160. I do think she wins though. Oh, winning round 3 plus 750. There you go. Yeah, I'm getting Curtis round 3 1400. I think it's live. 2 weeks ago, heck yeah. Most money I've ever lost on MMA bet would be $500. That's my max bet, $500, and that was I think it was 2 years ago. It was Paul Craig versus Volkan Oezdemir. Fight doesn't go to decision at minus 250, and I don't even know how to explain what happened. It was just a terrible performance, but it would be $500 would be the most ever lost on a bet. The DraftKings vid on Pub Sports Radio this week. We did it. It should be there. It should be there. We did that Wednesday. BDP Lock City. Yeah, nothing's a lock, Bailey, but so you'd be shocked how many people have said that Malcolm Gordon's a lock this week. I mean, if you say Malcolm Gordon's a lock, I just can't take you serious. At least with Dricus, I don't agree that he's a lock, but at least I can somewhat respect that. But to say Malcolm Gordon's a lock, win or lose, I mean, that's just a ridiculous statement, and it just makes no sense to me. Most I've made on an MMA bet was probably was it either Daniel Zellhuber round 2 submission at I was like 33-1. I think it might have been that. I think it might have been Daniel Zellhuber round 2 submission at 33-1. So I had Zellhuber round 2, and then I had Zellhuber round 2 submission 33-1. Or it might have been when I had Jake Matthews. I had a half unit on his second round prop against Darius Flowers, and then I had a quarter unit prop on his second round submission at like plus 900. So I'm thinking one of those two fights would have been my biggest win. I also had a second round submission bet on Nate Landwehr, but it was only like 0.15 units on it. So I'll say the Zellhuber fight. Just kidding about the lock part. It's such a good number. I got DDP. There, you did your job. He's 116 is no longer there. You did not miss it. Dave will be touching on that fight very soon. Very soon. Yeah, I thought about it. I might increase it soon. We'll see. I like where it's at right now. I feel comfortable with it, but yeah, might have to increase it. We'll see. Yeah, Nate round 2 sub was legendary. Zellhuber round 2 sub was legendary. And then there was another one that was also legendary. Can't remember off the top of my head, but there's been some big ones. Darren Elkins round 3 was like plus 1,800 against TJ Brown. I didn't bet the sub. I just bet the round 1,800. That was fun. Gordon is a lock though. Oh God. Gordon is a lock though. I had to double check to see if I'm reading this right. So Gordon's a lock, though I would feel comfortable selling my organs and betting it on him. I can't take you serious, Dirk. Can't take you serious. Could he win? Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's going to get Jimmy Flick, but nothing's a lock, especially that. Yeah, Brundage round 1, I had a quarter unit at like plus 2,900. That pissed a lot of people off. Oh, I had Joe Pyfer round 2 sub as well. Yeah. Can we ban? I mean, if I might have to ban everybody that says Malcolm Gordon's a lock. I might have to ban everybody that calls him a lock because it's not. Jiri 5th round sub. Yeah, it's funny you say that. So me and Weezy we're breaking down Jiri versus Glover. We did a main event deep dive, and I was just messing around saying, Jiri round 5 submission was like plus 10,000. I was completely joking around, and that was in my opinion the least likely outcome, and it actually happened. I did not bet it. I was not even thinking about betting it, but I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, guys, we'll move on to the next fight. We got Mike Malott going against Neil Magny. If you guys watched my best bet video earlier in the week, I put out my favorite bet of the card. It was between this what one we'll talk about or something in the main event. I ended up going with Mike Malott to win in rounds 1 or rounds 2. At minus 129, I believe it was. Minus 129, yeah. So I have 2 units on that. And even on some books, you can do you can parlay the fighter with like the under. Mike Malott parlayed with under 1.5 rounds as plus 100, which, I mean, it makes no sense. Mike Malott, when he wins fights, it's early. Like he has 10 wins, 9 of them come in the first round. All 10 of them come under 1.5 rounds. So to get Mike Malott at, plus money in his best win condition, I mean, that makes no sense. But I took the rounds 1 or rounds 2 just to give him an extra couple minutes there to go out there and finish Neil Magny. Neil Magny's been finished a ton. I think Mike Malott's getting Neil Magny at the right time here, 36 years old, taking a ton of damage. Magny's looking a little more fragile out there lately. Magny's been submitted 4 times in the UFC, and it's a setup fight. I mean, we see what the UFC's doing. They're not bringing Neil Magny into Canada to build him up. They're trying to build up Mike Malott, who is Canadians' favorite prospect at this point. So, yeah, it should be a fight where Mike Malott goes out there and finishes Magny in the first 2 rounds. So I have 2 units on that, minus 129. But there's if you're on the Magny side or looking for a hedge, these Magny props are insane. So Magny round 3, I sprinkled 0.15 units on it, plus 3,300. And then Magny round 3 sub is plus 10,000 on Bet365. So I put 0.1 units on that. So a quarter unit total, probably a quarter unit in the trash. But if this fight does get to the 3rd round, what does Mike Malott look like? I mean, we literally don't know. So I'm looking for Mike Malott early, Neil Magny late, and Neil Magny did sub D-Rod in the 3rd round not too long ago. So, but yeah, I think that the obvious answer here is Mike Malott. Mike Malott probably 1st round submission. I just thought those Neil Magny 3rd round props were kind of silly, to be honest. So, Yeah, give me Mike Malott here on DraftKings 9,300. I like him a lot. I think he has a ton of finish upside. I think a ton of finish upside early as well. Some takedown upside. He should sub Magny within the first 2 rounds or knock him out. As far as Neil Magny, can't really get there. I think if he wins, it's going to be some kind of, miracle, come from behind after getting 10-8'd in the first 2 rounds, 3rd round victory type stoppage win. So, yeah, give me Mike Malott here on DraftKings, and then I have that round 1 and round 2. I think that's the best way to play Malott, and then those little sprinkles on Neil Magny. Submission round 3 plus 10,000. Why not? 0.1 units to win 10 units. Imagine. Just imagine. It would be incredible, but we'll see. Mike Malott, round 1. I'm assuming it's something not probably playable. Mike Malott to win in round 1 is plus 170, plus 165. I see a plus 204. That's on Pinnacle. I don't have Pinnacle. I bet the Malott round 1 or round 2 on BetRivers last night. Saw your best bet video today and put some more units on it. 3 units. I'm 2 units deep on it. I like it. If you're going to bet Mike Malott, I think that's how you do it. I wish I could get to a place where I liked Mike Malott. I'll be fraud checking him later on. Yeah, I could see it. I could see him getting fraud checked later on. I'm just not sure if this is the spot. Parlaying Magny and Gordon. Best of luck to you. I think the next Mike Malott. Yeah, so Mike Malott's getting a top 15 guy here in Neil Magny, which is probably the easiest top 15 matchup this guy can ask for. I mean, this guy's walking into the top 15. After this fight, then we can talk about potentially fading Mike Malott. This is the spot where I don't know if it's just yet. Brady, can you bless my parlay with a kiss? I need to get back to work. Well, what's your parlay? Last week, I got Malott minus 290, parlayed him with Jourdain minus 186. I have 2.5 units plus 107. I like both spots. I like both guys. Surprisingly good price for a Malott round 1 plus 170. Yeah, I mean, he has 9 wins in the first round. 9 wins in the first round. Ben saying hit the like button so we can get over 100. That'd be awesome. Would appreciate that, guys. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Be on the lookout for the best bet video. That'll be out tomorrow morning. Pretty much went through every single one of my bets. I don't think I'm going to add any, but that'll be out tomorrow morning. And then obviously best bet at 4:30 tomorrow. Yeah, I think he's gonna finish what Ian Gary started. He's gonna finish what Ian Gary started there. Because Ian Gary could have finished Magny 75 times in that fight. Just decided not to. And then Dirk seriously has Strickland by KO. We'll talk about it. I'd lean sub. But, I mean, Malott has power. And Magny he looks fragile. I mean, Ian Gary dropped him with the very first leg kick he threw. So, we'll see. Appreciate you, Cole, for stopping by. I got Mike Malott rounds 1 or rounds 2, Silva money line and main event to knock out the distance thoughts. Yeah, I like all those. I'd even get a little more aggressive and maybe go Silva inside the distance. But money line's fine. I like it. All right. Moving on to the co-main event, we got Mario Bueno Silva going against Raquel Pennington. Yeah, not a ton of interest in this fight. What I do like, though, is I like Silva inside the distance, which is plus 150. I have 0.75 units on it. We'll take a look at it here. Like when Silva's winning fights, she's finishing fights. She's an exciting fighter. I thought it was pretty funny at the press conference. I think it was yesterday, which by the way, I wasn't expecting Mario Bueno Silva to be like the highlight of the press conference, but she was. She was saying that Raquel Pennington's fights put people to sleep, which, hey, I mean, she's kind of not wrong. So I think she's going to come in here looking for that finish like she always does. 80% finish rate. What's interesting is I did watch her interview. She's very, she was talking a lot how she wants to go out there and get her first UFC KO. And I don't think so. I think it's sub more often than not. I mean, 70% of her wins come by sub, but I would be kind of careful in terms of playing the sub prop there because there's not much of a difference between the sub and the inside the distance. So that's kind of what I went with. I feel like Silva, she's dangerous. She's dangerous wherever the fight goes. In the clinch, she's dangerous. And if this fight hits the mat, which it has 25 minutes to do so. If this fight hits the mat at any point, if it's Silva, whether she's on bottom or top, I mean, I think she probably gets the sub here. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. I think she wins this fight inside the distance, 0.75 units plus 150. If you like Pennington, I think Pennington decision only or Pennington decision because I don't think she's finishing Bueno Silva. whereas I think Silva has the majority of the finish upside, which I mean, you could tell from the sports books because they have like Bueno Silva finish only was like minus 500 or minus 6, something stupid. So, yeah, give me Silva inside the distance. Outside of that, not a ton of interest. I'm not messing around with the knockout or sub, lean sub, but covering the knockout as well. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't hate this fight. Like, I think Silva has all the finishing upside here. I think it could happen in any round. I'm not sure which round it's going to happen. And then as far as Pennington, if she wins, it's probably going 25 minutes, 25 minutes at 7,600 and a win's probably solid. I don't think this main event's going to be crazily high owned as well. I don't think a lot of people are looking forward to this one. So I don't hate the main event from a DraftKings perspective, but I think there's much better fights, especially in this range from a DraftKings perspective. You have even like the Katona Armfield, the City Tavares, the Lioness, Patterson, Malcolm Gordon, Flick. Yeah, there's a lot more better fights to target, but I don't hate this fight from a DraftKings perspective. Mara will definitely get the finish. Yeah, I think if she wins, it's by finish. I mean, that's all she does. 80% finish rate. I like it. Silva by sub plus 205, 0.75 units. I do lean sub, but for what it's worth, she is predicting the knockout, which we can never look into that too much, but Pennington's so boring. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of her. I would like to see Bueno Silva versus Juliana Pena. They have some bad blood. I'm not too high on Pennington. If this, gosh, wow. If this fight had been the first title fight ever on the prelims, I wouldn't complain. Ruthless there. I guess same. Pennington by robbery, split decision. Yeah, I think if she wins, it's by decision. Could even be a robbery. Pennington is hard to KO, club and sub. I could see it. I do lean sub there. So inside the distance for me, cover both, but I do think it's sub myself. All right, now we have the main event, Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. Really looking forward to this fight. We have some line movement here. So Dricus du Plessis was an underdog for a while, it seemed like. Now we have it at a straight pick'em here. We got minus 110, Sean Strickland, minus 110, Dricus du Plessis. And yeah, so I have two bets here. My biggest bet of the card actually is on the fight to end by knockout. I was actually really surprised to see this line, 2.5 units at minus 117. And then I also hedged with du Plessis by submission. Was able to beat some line movement on a plus 950 Dricus sub for a half a unit. So if this fight ends by knockout, which I do lean towards it happening, I will go up 1.61 units. And then if Dricus wins by sub, I'll go up like 2.25 units. So I like playing those two spots. I like violence. That's kind of my way of attacking violence. But yeah, I do lean knockout. But I mean, if Dricus does get the fight down on the mat, he's a very dangerous grappler. But yeah, I don't have a strong lean on who's going to win this fight. I kind of see it being Dricus early, first, second, or third round. And if not, I think Sean Strickland's pressure is going to start to take over. But what I do like I said, violence is the answer here, in my opinion. Dricus has 22 fights, 21 of those finishing inside the distance. And the one that did go the distance was just an absolute beatdown against Brad Tavares in a fight that could have potentially been stopped on a couple different occasions. So, yeah, that's kind of how I'm attacking it. From a DraftKings perspective, I'm all in, basically. I love this fight from a DraftKings perspective. Slight lean to Dricus because he's the underdog on DraftKings at least, and I think he has early knockout upside or submission upside even. But if Sean Strickland does win this fight, I expect a ton of volume, and I expect him to break Dricus down the stretch. Was looking at maybe Sean Strickland 3, 4, 5 props. They're not the best price tags, but if you like Strickland, I think that's how he wins. And then Dricus early, I think that's how he wins. So give me some violence here in the main event. We'll see how it plays out. Pennington is bad for real. A baddie. Oh, I don't know about that one. It's due to a doctor stoppage due to a stab wound. Oh my God. I mean, you never know with Strickland. Cheering for Sean, but the odds are too good not to back Dricus right. Not, as an underdog, I'd say so. I don't think there's any more plus money on Dricus. I think it's all taken. Max bet Strickland decision only, minus 186. Yeah, if it goes to decision, it's got to be Strickland. I know some people are. I've seen some Dricus decision takes, which it's plus 900. Dricus decision would kind of shock me, to be honest. Strickland decision. Yeah, if it goes to decision, I do lean Strickland doing the better work. DDP going to break this man down. Strickland by decision or DDP by KO. Uncle Weezy in the building saying, "Oi, what is up, Uncle Weezy?" Weezy will also be on the Best Bet show tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern time. Shout out to Uncle Weezy. Strickland can win 3-4-5-2, but I think decision. I'd be shocked if it went decision personally. I mean, Dricus does not go the distance. Yeah, somebody asked me about that early in the week. DDP round one only, -150. I think that's good. Your thoughts on the Jourdain Woodson fight? Do you think it's inside the distance? The props are nice. Yeah, Jourdain inside the distance for me. If it does go to decision, I think it's going to be really close though. But Sean Woodson finishing in his only loss, and Sean Woodson was also finished by Luis Saldana. Saldana just had like the worst fight IQ moment in UFC history. Yeah, I don't know what we don't even know what Dricus looks like in the 4th or 5th round. And he has 2 losses. His 2 losses do come in the 3rd. I don't know what it would look like. Yeah, Sean can't take punches. I think both guys are tough and durable. The difference between Sean and Dricus is Dricus has a ton of power. I think there's a massive power difference, but Sean also brings some good things to the table, like a ton of volume, a ton of pressure, great pace, great cardio. So I think there's reasons that people like either side here. All right, and I've seen a lot of people confident on either. I mean, that's what people do, right? Like a lot of people are confident in Malcolm Gordon at -210 this week. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people really confident on Dricus, a lot of people really confident on Strickland. In my opinion, it's tough to be confident on either side, but we'll see. It should be a fun fight. All right. I think that is about it, guys. Thank you all for hanging out. Went a little bit late, but we had a lot to talk about, a lot of weigh-in shenanigans, a lot of best bet breakdown. Before we get out, if you guys could please leave a like on your way out, subscribe to the channel. Best bet breakdown or betting breakdown video tomorrow, 6:30 in the morning, bright and early, and then also best bet tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern time as well. Thank you all for hanging out. Enjoy the card; should be a fun one, and let's make some money, guys. See you later.